Hi and welcome back everyone. As you remember, we worked on a lab on routing and DMZ solution in an enterprise network. If you're interested, you can watch the video on our channel today. We are going to talk about standardization. We'll understand that why standardization of time is important in an enterprise environment. And then further today, we'll be looking at Syslog Organization as well, which we'll be working on our log server. So as you can see that this is our setup. We had our firewall on BIOS, and then we are using a log server, management server will be used today. I'm using a Road Warrior, which is a CentOS, and I have a web server and a workstation would be used later. So that's the typical setup that we have. But first try to understand that what is the importance of standardizing time in an enterprise environment. We standardize time to ensure consistent time synchronization across all systems in an enterprise environment. Without a standardized time settings, correlating a log across multiple devices and time zone becomes difficult, making it challenging to track security incidents and troubleshoot issues. So further, if we look deeper into the enterprise networks, we know that if logs are collected from different devices, they might have varying time formats, incorrect timestamps, or it would become impossible for the it would be very difficult for the analyst to analyze the events accurately. Security investigations would require precise timelines. Without timestamps, including the time zones and offsets, tracking an attack sequence would be difficult. Further, many enterprise applications and security tools depends on synchronized time to avoid errors in authentication, log analysis, and event correlations. Further, we cannot ignore the importance of compliance. For example, many standards are there like PCI DSS or ISO 27001. They would require an accurate timekeeping for auditing and logging purposes. So in our today's lab, we'll have an issue here that the logs are generated by the system. They do not include a time zone or year information. So we'll try to change the time format in a way so that we'll be able to track the events across multiple log sources. So for that, we'll be working on our Road Warrior server. So first of all, as you can see that we are logged in on our Road Warrior server. If you want to see the date format, you'll type date, and you can see that it's a standard format of it, which is not according to the format that we are looking for. So we want to change this UTC time to a standard time, and in order to do that, we'll have to go to the rsyslog configuration file. So for that, I'll type sudo nano and then type etc/rsyslog.configuration. So as you can see, I'm in my configuration file. So you'll have to go down, and we'll be looking into global directives, and go down. As you can see that in our last lab on DMZ, we worked on the file where we defined the traditional file format for the time management, etc. So what we need to do over here is that we'll have to comment out this thing so that it would be in a standard format. After that, we'll have to restart our rsyslog. So we'll type sudo systemctl restart rsyslog. So now we'd like to check the log message. So we are trying to send a log using a logger called -t in test, check time format, press enter. Now, if you'd like to see the log message that we just sent for testing purposes, I can type in sudo, and then I'll type cat var. That's the location where your log would be, var log and syslog, and then pass in grep and check time format and press enter. And you can see the time format has been changed. Previously, it was in a different format, and now we have a standard time format over here. If you'd like to send a message to your log server, I can send a logger message to my log server, and the IP address for that is 172.16.50.5. And then I'm defining the port of it as 514, and I'm sending a message over there, and we'll be able to see in the logs of it that whether it is accepting the message in the right format or not. So likewise, you can make the necessary changes on your Web01 and Log01 server. And as you can see over here, that we have made the changes on our web server and we are receiving the time in a standard format. So now we'll be starting the second part of our lab exercise, which will be about Syslog Organization on log server. So the goal of this lab is to properly configure log1 as a central logging server, ensuring logs are organized, segregated, and stored reliably and effectively for security monitoring purposes. So towards the end of the lab, we'll be able to set up a remote management, which is a management server, which we'll be configuring it today. Then you'll configure the log server to store the logs from multiple devices, and we'll enable the authentication event logging from web and firewall 01. It would verify the logs which would be generated and stored correctly in the right format. So before starting the exercise, just make sure that your interface is facing to the LAN, because our management server is placed on LAN, and then we'll be configuring our management server as we did in our lab number 1. So since it's a new server, we'll have to set up the IP address for this server. So in order to do that, we'll use netplan again. You'll type in the command and press enter. So that's how I am defining the static IP address for my management server. Just make sure that you have name servers and routes properly defined over here. After that, we'll use the command sudo netplan apply. And as we always do, we'll rename the server to management 01-Syed. So once you have renamed the host, we'll create a secure admin account. And I have created an account for myself as Syed, and I have restarted the network manager. We did it in the lab 1.1, so I'm not repeating those steps. We'll just go directly to adjusting the NAT and DNS forwarding on firewall 01. Now it's required because management 01 is on LAN. It needs the internet access via firewall 01. So we configured the NAT and DNS forwarding to allow the LAN devices to reach the external resources. So in order to enable the NAT for LAN on firewall 01, we'll SSH firewall 01 from our management server. So in order to SSH, we'll type in SSH BIOS and we'll give the IP address for our firewall 01, press enter and provide the password. So as you can see, I am successfully logged into our firewall from management server, and then we'll go to the configure mode. So I wrote a NAT source rule as 110, where I'm defining the outbound interface as Ethernet 0, and then the source address is 172.16.150.0, and then we are just translating the address masquerade, etc. So for my DNS forwarding, I have configured the DNS forwarding where the listen address is 172.16.150.2, and I'm forwarding the allow from 172.16.150.0, which is /24 network. Just commit and save it over here. Now we'll try to ping if it is properly configured or not, or if we can have internet access. And as you can see, we can reach the internet from our management, from our firewall 01. Now we will exit from here, and we want to come to our management server. So we are back on our management server. Pass the command as clear. So the next step is we'll have to enable SSH Key Authentication on management 01 to log 01. So in order to do that, we'll be generating the SSH key on the management server, which is management 01. So likewise, we'll type in SSH, and then we'll provide the name as Syed, and we'll provide the name of our IP address of our management server, which is 172.16.150.10, and provide the password for that. And then on our management server, we'll have to generate the key over here. So we'll type SSH and then minus keygen, and then we'll type -T and RSA and press enter. Next step is you need to copy the key to your log server. So in order to do that, you'll type in SSH and then you'll pass the command as copy ID and then type the username which will be used over there and type the IP address as 50.5 for your log server and press enter so that you can copy the file over there. Now we need to verify the SSH authentication. So I'll type in again SSH Syed at 172.16.50.5 and press enter and enter your passphrase. And as you can see that I am logged in to my log server, which is log01-Syed. And if you want to see the key which was there, type in this command, which is cat and then SSH authorized key. So we can even see the key which came from management 01 and is stored on our log server. So now our next step number 4 is we'll have to organize syslog storage on our log 01. Now, instead of storing all logs in var log messages, we want to segregate logs by host name and program name to improve the analysis and security monitoring, etc. So in order to make the changes that we made on our lab number 1, we'll have to type in sudo and we'll edit the file which was there in etc rsyslog.configuration and press enter. It would open the configuration file and we'll make certain modifications here. And we'll comment out the configuration for UDP and TCP over here. As you can see, I have placed hashes in front of TCP and UDP. Next step is that we'll have to download a custom syslog configuration file, and we have the configuration file over here at this address, and we want to import it to our a custom drop-in which would be 03-sec350 configuration. So in order to do that, so first of all, we'll go to the directory by typing in cd etc rsyslog-d, and once we are there, we are going to use the wget command in order to copy the content of the custom drop-in. So we'll type in sudo wget and then I'll type in the address from where we are downloading the file, and it would be copied on your system. After that, you'll restart the rsyslog. Then if you'd like to see the file which is being copied, you'll use cat 03-sec350.conf and you can see the configuration in that one. Now just make sure that you're typing it properly and you don't have any additional rules over here, otherwise you'll end up having lots of issues. So if you would like to see the logs over there, I'll type list lr and then here I'm typing it var and then log and remote syslog and press enter. But since I'm logged in as a general user, I'll have to log in as a root user. So I logged in as a root user, and then I went to the directory which is etc rsyslog-d, and I'll type in lslr color var log remote syslog, and you'll be able to see the syslogs over here which has been generated and tested. And if you'll scroll up, you'll be able to see the logs that I have checked for Road Warrior 1, Web 01, and Firewall 01 plus the log 01. Now, next step is we'll have to configure the authentication for log forwarding. Forwarding authentication log from Web 01 to log 01. And in this one, I'll have to modify the configuration file which is over here, and we'll have to make certain modifications in that. So since we are making the modifications, just make sure that we are making these modifications on Web 01. We are not doing it on log 01. So I'll type in sudo nano etc rsyslog-d sec350 and then client configuration, press enter and provide the password, and I'll have to enter these details where I'm defining user notice at 172.16.50.5 and authorized privileges to 172.16.50.5. And once that's done, you'll have to restart your Syslog. But since now we need to forward the authentication logs from firewall to log 01, we'll have to write a command over here where we are setting the system syslog host as 172.16.50.5 and facility authority privileges level info, and then commit and save it. Now since that's done, now we'll have to verify the log organization on log 01, that how is it behaving to the overall settings that we have done so far. So in order to simulate the failed login attempts on web 01, we'll SSH to web 01, or we'll try to connect it and we'll see that how the logs are managed over there. So we will log in by SSH, and we'll try to SSH our Road Warrior 1 and at web 01. Rather, instead of doing it from here, let's do it from Road Warrior 1, and let's SSH from here. So I'll type in Sayed and 2.16.50.3, and let's provide a wrong password and try it a number of times, and then continue. So as you can see that I provided the wrong password, and I tried it over and over again with Sayed, and then I logged in as a root user, and I logged in. So as soon as I would log in, it would show me that there were 3 failed login attempts, and since the last successful login, and the last login was at this date, so it is clearly notifying you about the date and time. Now let's try to log into log 01 from management 01. As you can see, I can easily manage our log server from management 01. And then I'll type in sudo -i, and let's see. Now I'm in my log Sayed account as a root user. So if you would like to see the logs for remote syslog of web 01 for Sayed, I'm going to type in cd var log remote syslog and web 01-Sayed. So it should show me, or it should take me to web 01-Sayed first. And here, if I'll type in ls, I can see the different logs which are generated for me as my account is Sayed. So if I would like to open one of the logs, which is cat 2025, and then I'm using 01-23, which is the name for this one, for SSHD, this one, .log, and press enter, it would show me all the log entries for the failed password and all those things in this one. Further, you can see that it was a failed attempt from SSHD on from 10.0.17.10. Further, if you want on your log server, you can go to the directory, for example, of var log, and then type in remote syslog and press enter. I think I'm logged in as Sayed, so I'll have to log in as the root account user. So, and then type in cd and then var log and remote syslog. Once you're there in that directory, you can use tree command and press enter. So you can see all logs which were generated and saved over here. There are lots of them since I have been testing them. For our firewall, I have logs for my log server, Road Warrior 1 and web 01. So if I would like to see the logs for my web server for Sayed, and I'm going for SSHD log, and I'll press enter. So I'm now only seeing the logs for web 01 Sayed, and it is telling me the failed password attempts and rest of the other things. But the most important thing is that, as you can see, that time format has been standardized, and that was our main task here, to make sure that we can easily understand the time which appears on it, and we can make decisions on it based on the standardization of time format. So that's how we covered 2 labs on standardization of time and Syslog Organization on our Log1 server. I hope it's clear now. That's it for today. Thank you very much.